We're now going to practice the serve. The serve is the most underappreciated shot. Usually it's just a case of getting the ball into play because you're not going to hit an ace. But if you don't do a good serve, you're lining up the opponent to do an ace return. And you see far more of these in Squash 57 than you will, say, on a tennis court. So you're not going to get an ace, but if you don't take it seriously, they're going to ace you back with their return. The usual starting point for a serve is 1 foot inside the box, and quite often I see people standing way forward to do this, and then they're backpedaling to play the second shot. So why not start further back? Because when you play your shot, you want to be moving forward. So start further back. And the goal is to try and get this into the opponent's quarter, the service return corner, in a way that they have few opportunities to play the ball. You don't want to give them lots of good choices, you want to make it difficult for them. So that means they don't have a lot of time to hit the ball, and also you give them a bit of indecision. Do I hit it now or a little bit later? So the standard serve is from the right hand side because your opponent is usually left-handed, and you want to try and get it to hug that side wall, making it hard for the opponent to hit it. And that means to get the best angle to do that, you want to be stepping over to play the serve. So you're not serving from over here, you're serving from nearer the middle line. So that ball hit around here at a fine angle, which means as a receiver, if I'm receiving that and I'm standing here, I've got to make a decision. Do I try and intercept that ball before it hits the wall, or do I wait for it to come off the wall and then I'm struggling in the back as well? So that was a good serve. It made the opponent think that they're in trouble and also made it a hard shot for them to play. So we try again. So again, the ball landed around here on the wall. So if I'm here to receive, do I try and intercept it? Do I wait for it to come off, in which case I don't have a lot of room to play it? Am I going to play a boast? So as the server, because when I served I was moving this way already, I'm now here, and the opponent is going to return the ball from that quarter, and they've only got a couple of choices. They're going to flick it down the wall, or they're going to boast it into that corner. Similarly, on the forehand side, I'm going to try and do the same. So I'm going to step over to make it a fine angle on the wall there. I want it to hit where it's going to be hard for the opponent to hit the ball and make them have to dither. So the ball hit here. As a receiver, I'm here. Am I going to try and volley the ball? Am I going to wait for it to come off, and I'm going to be playing with having to react to the angle that it's coming off on the wall? When you're serving, you want to go through the same motion because you don't want to broadcast to the opponent what you're actually going to do. You can throw in a bit of variety. So we had done a regular serve, wide one, but with the same motion we can do a lob serve. So that hit the wall much higher up here. So before it was down here, it's now up here, which means the opponent who's got used to your standard serve being down here is getting ready to come in and make a decision. It's now up here. He can't reach it. He has to then go back. So you've forced your opponent into the defensive almost immediately. They were stepping forward to make a quick decision. That decision's now been taken away from them, and they had to reverse. Again, with the same motion, we can do a hard serve to the corner. So, that serve landed about here. As a receiver, I'm going in to play the regular shot. I've received one up here just now, and now it's down here. So I've thrown in with the same delivery, just a slight change of racket angle. I've given them 3 different serves, which require very different attention from the receiver. They've got a much harder job to keep that ball tight when they return it. Another serve, and quite often people will serve forehanded because they're not comfortable serving backhanded on this side of the court, is they'll drill it to that corner like I did just now with that third serve, but there's an alternative. They can try and hit the ball, get the ball to come and hit the wall down here. It'll then come off and go in the angle towards you and the camera. By doing that, as a receiver, I'm getting ready to do this. Suddenly, I no longer have a backhand to play. I've got a forehand. And not only do I have a forehand, I've got very little time to play it because the ball's coming off here, 1 bounce, 2 bounce. I've got to play it within this 2 yards of space. Let me show you if I can get one of those to work. So if you saw that, it came off, it hit the wall here, bounced almost immediately, shot off here. That gives the opponent 2 spaces, 2 paces to hit it. I've started here, I've gone in, I've suddenly got here, I've got next to no time to react. It's a very good serve. Taking that a step further, if you have the power to do this, is to hit into the corner of the court. So it hits the front wall here, side wall, and then shoots back towards the camera, aiming at this corner here in the service box. If I can do that, then as a receiver who's ready to do something over here, I'm suddenly having to play the ball over here. So that's quite a shift to get over here to do something constructive with it. I'll see if I can get one to do that. So that bounced here. Just didn't work. If it had been about 3 inches further along, it would have gone in and the ball was over here and the receiver would have been a long way away. One more variation that you should be considering, and again this requires more elbow grease, is to use the nicks higher up on the front wall. So when you serve, you have to hit the front wall first. That's one of the rules. And if you are hitting the front wall first and then the side wall, you generate a lot of spin on that ball, which if it hits the side wall or the back wall, can get quite confusing for a returner. So the goal of this serve is to hit the ball up into this corner, which is a surprise in itself, because usually you're trying to hit the far side of the front wall to get it into that quarter that the returner is standing in. But this time you're going to hit it on the front wall here, side wall, and try and get it to land into the box. So by doing that, and the ball bounced around here, which wasn't great, but by doing that, the receiver, who's here, getting ready to do something, suddenly the ball is coming at them from the other front corner and they have to turn around. Or they have to back off and try and do something with their backhand. So by doing that, you've given them another thing to worry about as a returner. So if we go through those serves again, what I've had is I'm here, I'm returning the ball, I'm receiving the serve, and the first serve came in around here. That's your standard serve, and you're going, what should I do with it, right? And then we threw in a higher one. It's like, oh, it's now up here. And then a fast one, and I've got to take it down here, because if I leave it to hit the nick, who knows which way it's going to squirt out. I then threw in one that hit the side wall down here and squirted along there. Very hard. We had the lob serve into the corner. We also had the angle coming up, so I had to turn around to play the ball. Many different types of serve that you can do. And as I say, the big goal of the serve is not to ace the opponent. That's very unlikely. The goal of the serve is to prevent the returner from hitting an ace back at you, because this is the only time in the match, in any point, where the receiver knows where that ball's going to go. The receiver knows that ball is going to bounce in this quarter. So they can be fully prepared. So you as a server are basically in a position where you can hand over all the advantage to the receiver if you don't do a good serve. So we'll try and rattle through those again. So first serve is a regular serve. This will be like 70% of your serves. We then threw in a higher one. This may be 5% of your serves. Unfortunately, that one was out. We then threw a harder, lower one. into the nick. As you saw when it hit the nick of the back there, it squirted out. There was no way the opponent would know which way that was going to squirt out. And that's quite often where the only aces come from, when you get a bad bounce at the back there. We then threw in a couple of forehand shots, hitting the sidewall first. Okay, that wasn't as good as my first attempt at it. And then we go for a bigger angle. And I missed that one as well. So the idea was that was going to hit here, it ended up over here. And then finally, we threw one up into the front right-hand corner. That wouldn't have worked because it hit the back wall first, and the rule is it has to bounce on the floor before it hits the back wall. But it would have certainly given the opponent something to think about.